I hope we can shoot a monster together. We'll see how that goes for me. It might not go well. I might get a gun, and then the monster might go, bah! And then jump on me and go, you know? That's quite possible. Excuse me. Also, I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. And if you're not, I hope it gets better. I have cinnamon toast. Munch, 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 munch. I bet you. Lunchy 550 there. I bet you they're gonna be the Monster Man. The Monster Mash. Pledging their loyalty to the Graveyard Smash. It was the mash. Monster Mash. Man, oh, excuse me. You know, one of the nice things about these long wait times is that it lets me do a lot of praying and reading and listening and stuff. And I was listening to the Tao Te Ching earlier, and I was listening to the Bhagavad Gita, and then I was listening to Matt Christman on one of these podcasts talk about well, he was talking about like the religious right in the United States and how it like formulated. That was pretty neat. He's a big smart man, that Matt Christman, even if he seems like a little bit of an unhinged weirdo too. But that's okay. I love unhinged weirdos. I am an unhinged weirdo. But it was interesting to think about. And it was also interesting to think about how like Christianity and socialism and leftist movements have kind of been construed in this country, well, in the United States anyway, to be like, you know, like polar opposites, even though it's very easy to be a Christian socialist or a Catholic socialist. I mean, I specifically say Catholic as socialist, even though Catholics aren't Christians, because like I always think of them in a slightly different way. Like Christian, I kind of like lump in evangelicals, Protestants, and stuff like that, like in broadly when I just say Christian. But I mean, they're all Christians. I mean, I would consider Mormons Christians because Mormons consider themselves Christians. You know, like I think that's fair. They want to be part of the Christianity isn't a broad tone, so why wouldn't you let them? Why wouldn't you say that? Now, if you say, well, because it doesn't adhere to my faith, well, I mean, that would be kind of silly. I mean, I don't think we should define these groups in such a way where we exclude a bunch of people, you know? I think we have more in common than we have apart. Well, and I mean, I understand that you would probably say there's a lot of doctrinal issues and stuff like that. It's understandable. But, yeah, no, I don't know. I was just thinking about this, and I rather enjoy listening to Matt Christman talk about all this different kinds of stuff. Um, he's a pretty cool guy. And the thing that's interesting to me is I kind of realized I didn't really know very much about like politics in India. I know about politics in a wide variety of places, honestly. And something that's interesting to me though is that like I didn't really know the history of like Hinduism as it pertained to um political movements. I understood a few different things about it, like especially for ancient history when we're talking about things like Buddhism and how that like kind of changed the landscape, stuff like that. You know, I understand that broadly, but like specifically Hinduism, I didn't understand uh, as much as I wanted to, and it was kind of a little interesting thing that it led me to investigate. I mean, as I've said before, I'm reluctant to call myself a Hindu for a variety of reasons. One second. Um, do you think we should requeue or should we just hang out?
I found that. Sorry, I learned to crochet here. I found that waiting, it'll eventually fill up pretty quickly. I'm usually sometimes the only one in the lobby, and then within like 1 minute, 2 minutes, however many minutes, because there's not all players in the game, they'll just join and fill up, populate the lobby.
Okie dokie. What are you crocheting?
His name is Pierre's Old Penguin. Trying to learn it from a video.
Well, that's very cute, and I hope he comes out well.
And me too. Thank you.
Yeah, so um toast. Yeah, but so it's kind of interesting to look into that. Now, the way I've approached, like I read the Bhagavad Gita. That was my first real introduction to practicing Hinduism because I are practicing the Sanatana Dharma. And I read it, and part of what appealed to me was that it felt like it seemed to understand the plurality of God. Like a part of the problem I've had with mainstream Christianity, for instance, is that it always felt to me like there's a very specific way these churches present that you have to get into contact with God, and I've just been like, no, I know that's not true because I've seen all these different religions all over the place who have these vastly different conceptions. Clearly, seem to have some sort of connection to the divinity there. So, but Hinduism, part of the appeal to me, and I keep saying Hinduism because Hinduism is a little easier than Sanatana Dharma, I think. Like, people know what you mean when you say Hinduism. But you know what I mean. Maybe I'll just say the Dharma. Well, anyway. So when I was introduced to the Dharma and I kind of pushed forward with it, the thing that I found very interesting and very liberating really was how open it was, different ideas, and how like different ideas will flow here and there, and you can really it really made it easy. I didn't feel like I had to force myself into certain conceptions of God that I didn't really follow. For instance, I think that the Tao Te Ching, if you take the word Tao and replace it with God, I think is very accurate. Like from what my understanding of the divine is, right? And I found that while the Gita was not exactly similar, was not like exactly the same, I found that there was enough similarities that I could kind of merge them together, and I was like, oh, this just makes perfect sense. And then I started to pray, and I started to really get into the devotional aspect of it, really into the bhakti aspect of it. I mean, I had been doing a lot of meditation before that because of my Buddhist practice, but then I really got into the praying. And the thing that's very interesting to me when I think about gods, I think that ultimately God is so vast and is so very both complex and yet simple at the same time. It's kind of difficult to explain. Like God is like one of those things where contradictory terms make sense with it. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. Anyway, I mean like the divine mother, for instance, and the divine feminine that's mentioned in the Tao Te Ching. These just kind of merged together to me, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. And that was the part I liked. I had no interest in the stuff talking about caste system. I had no interest in the stuff talking about like some certain texts that are attached to Hinduism because Hinduism is so broad. It's one of those religions where it's broad enough that it has both sexist and non-sexist elements. It's like it has the sexist elements and the feminist elements. It has like all these different elements, and it's so broad and encompasses so many a wide variety of philosophy that it was kind of like, okay, I can actually take what I want and use it, and it's not even really cherry picking in the sense that it's not like you're just cherry picking the parts you like. It's like what you would with like if you believe the Bible's the word of God, you can't cherry pick it. But what I mean is like you could go here and there's so many different philosophies that kind of merge together under one roof that it's not cherry picking. You're just kind of making your own little sprout. out of that gigantic tree. That was the part I really liked. And even now, I think my worship is kind of interesting because, you know, most of my worship goes to Mother Kali as the Divine Mother, the representation of Divine Mother Shakti. I love her very dearly. Um, but I do also pray to Shiva, Lord Shiva. You know, I chant Om Namah Shivaya, stuff like that, as well as Krishna and Durga. Durga and Kali are kind of, I kind of consider them part of the same. I mean, they're all part of the same greater divinity. So it's not like I'm really parceling, parceling out my worship or anything like that. And there's reasons I do this. Part of it is to, um, Kali is just the divine that is my Ishadavata. She is the divine for me. She is this personification of everything I've ever thought about God in a lot of ways, right? Krishna is part of the reason I still, chant Hare Krishna and do some stuff with that is because Krishna was kind of the vehicle that introduced me to this path, right? Because I was really introduced to this by reading the Bhagavad Gita. And Shiva, well, Shiva was even before Krishna, like I was always kind of attracted to images of Shiva, specifically Shiva, not images of Vishnu. Like there were some moments where like, that's kind of cool and stuff like that, but like very specifically Shiva, Lord Shiva, had always been very attractive to me. So, and in my mind, Shiva Shakti, all these things come together to form everything. This is the divine. The divine is has so many different faces and multiple purposes and things like that, and does so many different things that you can approach it in any different way. And like it says in the Gita,
See, there we go.
like as you approach God, God will approach you. You know what I mean? It's kind of an interesting way to look at it, and I think that's very true. I think that there's just this divine. The divine can appear in so many different myriad forms, and that's what's so attractive to me about this particular path. And kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, the thing that's weird to me though is that, for instance, I have a copy of the Vedas right here, and I got I have a wide variety of texts here. Some on Kashmir Shaivism, and I always have a hard time with some of these names. Let me the Sri Vijana Pariva Tantra. This one has all kinds of different stuff in it. It's very interesting, but I have that stuff, and I also have this collection of Rumi's poetry and all these different things. And I think that these all I kind of merge them all together because I can see the divine in all of them, and it seems to make sense to me like that specifically. Like if you just pull these apart and did like separate things, I don't think it would make as much sense. But all together, forming together, then it makes way more sense. That's what I'm saying anyway. And it's very interesting to me.
Hey, just letting y'all know, I'm the werewolf. If I feast on you, it's not personal. I still have to do it for 10 seconds for my movie.
All
It's
right. I
okay.
appreciate
I
you
know
telling me,
I'm
man. Thank you.
delicious.
Yeah, go for it. You're good.
Also, I'm not good, so I'd say good luck, but I don't want you to have it.
Hey, whoa. I'm not good either, so I'm not having any of this luck stuff.
Hey, I played with you yesterday, and you were the best one in the lobby, so
Yo,
you're not good. I
okay,
don't know what that
you've
means.
won. You
My lord.
talking me up. Look at you.
Look at this little flirtatious werewolf here.
Hey, man, don't don't threaten
Hurry,
me with
but
a
if you
good
get
time.
complimenting me like that,
But
listen,
yeah.
$40 is $20, boys. I'll do it.
What? Anyway, so yeah, I was thinking about all this different stuff, and it's kind of interesting because I guess the thought I was having is that a lot of it does feel like culture to me. For instance, I've noticed that the paths that adhere more specifically to like Shiva, Shakti, or like, Kali seem much more open to the certain ideas of like, I guess, reform. I don't know. It's kind of hard to parse out, but I don't know. I've just been thinking about this, and it's been interesting to me. Because the other thing that keeps coming back to me, I keep thinking about is like the meat thing. Like, to me, and I've explained this in other videos, like, I feel like it's okay to eat meat if you're, getting it from like a... Hey. What are you doing? Okay. I allowed him to give him a finger guns. It's also interesting because, like, for instance, like the history of like these different paths. Like, I do believe in karma, but like a lot of people use that kind of stuff to like justify, for instance. Oh,
Ayo.
I need to craft a staff instead. I'm a cleric. Meow 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 cleric. But yeah, it's kind of interesting the way a lot of this different stuff gets.
He's by me. I'm yellow.
I was gonna heal myself up with the staff to charge it. Oh, now I get to heal you. Oh boy. This is not even a good hiding spot. I should probably. Oh god. He said he wasn't good? Why did he lie?
I'll be up there when I'm done my weapon, boys. About 2/3 of the way done.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to think about that. And it's like, for instance, like the caste system to me seems like it was something that was. It's kind of difficult to say if it was originally a religious institution because it seems like in ancient India, almost all the major government institutions were also religious institutions in some sense. Like I said, a lot of the stuff, like for instance, I'm really interested in like tantra and like mysticism. And tantra and mysticism,
He's
as
on
far
me.
as my research anyway,
Roughly? Okay, he's off me.
rough, has never really adhered to like these ideas of like the caste system and stuff like that.
Oh shit! Whoops! Ooh.
Okay. My friend Jesse told me about how much better the staff was.
If you go to the courtyard, I might be able to help.
And
Oh shit!
but yeah, so it's been interesting too because like, so even though I'm kind of treading this path, I'm also going on like the more almost obscure part of this path. Not intentionally, mind. I just ended up choosing the part of the path that made sense to me was this stuff with tantra and the stuff with
There we
like,
go.
oh, well, that's fine. I'll still heal my. Oh wait, I had to do this. I forgot. I'm a healing, healing, healing. I am a
In the
cleric.
courtyard, he's on me. I'm gonna try and get him away from you. Go into the basement or upstairs? Let's go upstairs. Oh, never mind.
I was hoping to run by him there. It did not work. Sorry that didn't work like I wanted it to. Wow. Okay.
Huh? Oh yeah, no worries, no worries.
But yeah, so that was just kind of an interesting thing I've been thinking about. And the other part of that too is that a lot of the stuff I can find, like the most ancient stuff I can find, doesn't really seem like it's terribly concerned with the politics behind a lot of this stuff.
No,
Not like
no,
it
no.
doesn't.
Well, that sucks.
If I get hit again, I'm gonna die. That's fine. Oh, I
Is
forgot
the
I
bomb floor.
I forgot I
There he
spawned
is.
with a soda. I couldn't see it because I were moving my microphone. Just gonna do this again. I think healing a bunch would be probably pretty useful.
Rip.
Oh lord. Yeah, and you know, my own practice also incorporates elements of various different paths, really. It's not all just Hindu stuff, there's just like a lot of different... Oh, he left. Interesting. And I don't know, I was just thinking about...
Nice.
I should probably get down there and get the guy. I just wanted to make sure that if I get hit again, I didn't immediately die. Yeah. I ran towards you, handsome.
All right. Love your accent.
Oh boy.
Look it.
Smelly werewolf! Huh. Anyway. So, the other thing that was interesting to me about all of this different stuff that was going on as I was, like, reading about it was, like... I mean, to me, honestly, rules have never been that important. I've found that going off of my, own intuition has saved me more often than not. And I tried in the past when I was a Muslim, I was very strict with following as many of the rules as I possibly could, and that just led to conflicts. But I found that being flexible was a much better solution. And I, you know, reading the Tao Te Ching, it made sense to me to be flexible. And I found that if one was to describe me, it almost at a certain point it almost became like I would be like a Hindu with Buddhist and Taoist elements. Like some of my philosophy was very strongly, you know, cool. Was very strongly based in the Hindu stuff, and I'm sorry, the Buddhist stuff, but also very specifically like certain parts of the Taoist texts that I had read. I think that there's a certain uncertainty that goes about all this. Like one of the things I feel like we're constantly trying too hard to assert is like these ideas of like certainty and like how things can only fit into these kind of narrow ways we describe them. And I think that the divine and all that is much larger than that. Oh boy. Thank you. I gotta remember to use that soda. Yeah, so it's interesting too because like I was saying about the Christian stuff earlier, is like I don't know how much I'm really concerned with like identifying people very specifically based on like their roles or their beliefs or things like that. I think that pretty much all definitions are eventually going to get to be not as useful as we might think they are. I think I hear him over here. He just went down that way. Wonder if I have time to try and... Nope. I feel very... This is... Nice! Nice! Good job!
Yeah, GG.
Not exactly the ending I was expecting, but hey! I'll take it. Thanks for coming in clutch there. Yeah, I think I like the staff thing. But anyway, what I mean is it's like this kind of weird amorphous blob makes much more sense to me when we're talking about the divine than when we try to like put it into these specific categories and try to say all this very specific language about it. Like, is God male or female? God is both and neither. Is God corporeal or incorporeal? God is both and neither. It's like this is like very complex ideas here, and a lot of it like kind of mixes together, and a lot of it, I have to admit, wouldn't have made sense to me before I've had my kind of weird mystical experiences. Before that, I don't think a lot of this would have made sense to me. And I feel like part of the reason I lean into the socialist stuff is because I feel like it's the path, or it's the political path, which provides the most help for people and helps the most people if you do it right. And I think it can reduce suffering a tremendous amount. I think a lot of our suffering in our day-to-day lives is unneeded. I don't think you will completely eliminate suffering, mind you. I think a lot of that is stuff that is just going to be down to the individual level. But I think a lot of this unnecessary suffering is just accumulating and just extra around there, I think we can kind of get rid of that. But I don't know. This is just the kind of stuff that's been bouncing around in my head lately, and I just felt like sharing like just these ideas. I think that you know, like God will approach you, God or whatever we want to call it, supreme reality, the Tao, whatever, will approach you as you approach it. And I think that pretty much any path out there can get us on the right track. The thing about a lot of this stuff is, like, if you just read it and you're all like into like, oh, this is the exact rules and everything this book says. No, 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 no. That's not what you need. You need to dig into these books and find like the message, the bones, the divine spirit within them that compels you to move forward, to be a better person, to connect with God, to do those kind of things. That's what you need to look for. I feel like all the rules and chicanery and stuff like that, I don't think that really helps. Now, some rules are important. Some rules, like, you know, don't lie, don't, you know, try not to berate other people, try to live a good life. You know, and those are very, very broad, obviously. I think those are important and can really help. You know, rules like, yeah, you can't eat shellfish, or, you know, pork is evil or whatever. Not necessarily evil, but you know what I mean. Haram. I think a lot of that stuff is it. You can adhere to it if you desire, but you should not adhere to it as if it is like your life depends on it. If it is essential to your connection with God, you think, if it is essential to all that, go ahead, do it. But also remember that other people have different ways of connecting to God too. So it's all, people can have their different ways and their different routes. You don't have to force your way on them. I think that whether you embrace God as the divine masculine, divine feminine, divine whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. This impersonal Brahman, whatever, you can embrace it in such a way that will make you a better person and will make it better for the people around you. And I think that that's the beauty of what I've discovered here is, and you know, it's not that I've discovered it like I'm the only one, but other people have talked about this plenty. But the multiplicity here, I think it's important to remember the multiplicity of the divine paths that are in front of us, right? Like, we can do all kinds of things. And you know what? There is a world here. If you want to enjoy this world and stick strictly to that, that's fine. If you're an atheist, if you don't believe in God, hey, that's fine too. No one should bother you about that. You know, like, I think that the way the divine works is that it'll approach us all in our own ways, whether we understand it or not, etc. Whether we understand it as divine or not is also not that important. I think that there is a higher purpose and that we can all approach it through our own methods. If you want to meditate, if you just want to give to other people, if you want to pray, I think you can attain it through a wide variety of means. I don't know. I was just thinking about that as I was waiting a very long time for that faith match. And then it was a pretty good faith match. I got to heal some people, and then I died, and then I was a zombie, and then that was cool. So, you know, zombies are neat. I was a holy zombie. Oh boy. I can maybe even give you remission of sins or something. Probably not. You should probably just ask Mahakali for that. Or, you know, whatever personification of God you're into. Alright. I hope you all have a great day. And I'm going to get into being a great faith.